Could Fortnite's next mini-season completely ruin Chapter 6? So I know that we just started Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 4, and I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit, but if you guys have been watching the channel, you know that I like to do that. But Fortnite's next season is going to be the second mini-season of this chapter. It's going to be called Fortnite Chapter 6 MS2, standing for Mini-Season 2. And this one is a little bit different, to say the least. Now, on November 1st, which is when Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 4 ends, Fortnite is officially starting a Simpsons-themed mini-season. So you heard that right, The Simpsons, which is really weird. The first one that we've had this season was Galactic Battle, which was Star Wars themed. That one was kind of a curveball, but ever since this one leaked, the Simpsons season leaked, people have been kind of freaking out. You know, some are excited, some are worried it could completely ruin the vibe of Chapter 6, and that is the question I will be answering today. So what actually is the Simpsons mini-season, why Epic is doing it, and exactly how the community feels about it? Could this actually ruin Fortnite Chapter 6? In a nutshell, honestly, maybe. So first off, let's give a little bit of context. Chapter 6 has been packed with content, and honestly, Chapter 6 is probably like one of my favorite chapters that we've had so far. It's been really, really good. We had Season 1, we had Season 2. Galactic Battle I really didn't like that much, and of course last season and this season I absolutely love. You guys know how I feel about it. All of these crazy mythics, and of course we've been having an awesome storyline with a lead up to Chapter 7, where hopefully we will go head to head against the Dark Presence. Now suddenly Fortnite throws us a huge curveball with a Simpsons mini-season. Lore-wise, it might sound completely random, but when you think about it, Fortnite's whole storyline right now is about fractured realities, different worlds colliding, and crossover like kind of chaos. And The Simpsons, they've been kind of a symbol of crossovers for decades. Now, if you guys don't know, The Simpsons had a very, very popular mobile game. It was called The Simpsons Tapped Out, and it had been out for a really, really long time, and it just went out of production last year. They completely canceled it, no more updates, nobody is playing it anymore. I don't even think it's on the App Store. But apparently in the storyline for this game, apparently an AI took over, and the AI said that even though they're taking over this game, they're going to send The Simpsons into another game, which I think obviously is going to be Fortnite, and that's why we're seeing this giant, you know, collaboration between them and Disney. So in a weird way, I feel like this actually does make sense for Fortnite's multiverse. But one thing that I don't like though is how when Fortnite does these mini seasons, specifically with Galactic Battle and now probably with the Simpsons season, it's kind of like the lore gets put on pause, especially what we've seen with the collaboration ones, like, you know, Chapter 2 Remix. That lore wise for that was a little bit iffy. You know, some people think it's a dream, some people think it wasn't, but Galactic Battle, there was barely any storyline outside of the event. There was barely any build up for the event or anything. And then this Simpsons season, it's probably just going to be a pause in the lore, which I really, really don't like that much. I wish they would try to incorporate it a little bit more into the lore, but hopefully they do that with the next season. But here's the thing, you guys, the community reaction, a lot of people are a little bit worried. I've seen so many people online saying that this could ruin Fortnite's Chapter 6 vibe. A lot of people saying they're not going to play. It kind of reminds me a little bit of how people felt before Galactic Battle, and that's particularly why I am a little bit worried. If you guys remember, before Galactic Battle came out, I was a little bit wary. I made videos about other people being wary about the season, saying, you know, oh, it's a little bit too niche for this. We've already seen this before in Fortnite. And even though in The Simpsons we haven't seen, you know, that in Fortnite before, so that's going to be really cool to have, like, you know, Homer and all those people in the game. It's very, very niche, and I don't know how many people who play Fortnite are actually going to be interested in playing this season when it's all Simpsons themed. I hope that they do something crazy with the map. I hope it is a little bit more like engaging than Galactic Battle was. Galactic Battle, they played it really safe, barely changed the map, and it honestly just felt like, you know, a mini season event. You know what I mean? How they would do with Star Wars in the past. And I really hope they go full-fledged into the Simpsons theme, especially considering that this will be the last like era, the last month of the chapter. So now let's answer the big question. The question that you clicked on this video for: could this ruin Chapter 6? In my opinion, honestly, I really don't think so. I don't think this will ruin the chapter. Fortnite's momentum is really, really strong right now with all of the updates and the hype building toward Chapter 7, but I can't sit here and say that I'm not worried completely. I think it definitely could hurt the reputation of Chapter 6 overall. If people don't vibe with The Simpsons, this could be the one mini season everyone looks back on as like the weak link of the chapter. I think a lot of people consider this chapter to be pretty strong. I know a lot of people have said that every season has been really good. I haven't liked every single season, particularly Season 2 I wasn't a fan of, and then Galactic Battle, of course, you guys know I really did not like that because it was just really bland. And I hope that they don't do the same thing with this Simpsons season. I hope they learn from their mistakes. I hope they give us new innovative stuff, and I hope it feels like the entire game is taken over by The Simpsons in that way. Now, this doesn't mean it'll be bad. You know, just like Galactic Battle, the actual gameplay and content could be fun at times, but the theme just might not click with everyone. If you guys remember, we had lots of talks about the player counts during Galactic Battle. They were pretty low, lower than what I expected, especially for a mini season. Lots of times Fortnite mini seasons are very popular because they're packed with content, but like Galactic Battle, it was just reused, like stuff that we had already seen before, just kind of reskinned. The Simpsons mini season isn't going to kill Fortnite. It would take a lot to kill Fortnite. Fortnite, but it could change how people remember this chapter as a whole and affect how people rank it when they're looking back. Now, for me personally, you guys, and I've said this in videos before, I'm honestly interested to see how Epic makes this work. The Simpsons is one of the biggest shows of all time. Obviously, it's kind of fallen off ever since then, and I don't really think many people who play Fortnite actually watch The Simpsons, but this collab is going to be huge in terms of attention. You know, even if you don't care about the show, it's impossible to deny how, like, big of a deal it is. You know, The Simpsons being in Fortnite, first of all, it's just hilarious. Like, who would have thought, even, it's just like when Family Guy came to Fortnite. Who would have ever thought that you would see Peter Griffin in a Fortnite? And that's kind of the allure of Fortnite collabs nowadays. It's not even necessarily like, oh, that's cool. It's just kind of like, wow, like whoever thought that this would happen? And I think that's one of the big pull-ins for this new season. I'm really interested to see how they handle the skins. I'm really interested to see gameplay mechanics like the mythics, maybe even Simpsons themed POIs. You know, it was leaked that it was going to be a smaller map and things like that. I don't really think they're going to do that. And to be honest, I'm kind of holding out hope that they may just do this like a reload mini season. Not going to lie, kind of hoping that they just do that. But I hope the entire map is Springfield. Honestly, I think that would be pretty cool. When they go all in with their collabs, it's really fun. So hopefully they end up doing that. It's also going to be really interesting to see how popular it is and see what people think, see what people think of it. If this season blows up, it'll kind of prove that Fortnite can pull off just about any theme, no matter how random, as long as they fully commit to it. And I honestly feel that way. I don't think this will ruin Chapter 6 at all, especially for me, but it's definitely going to be one of the most talked about seasons we've had in a long time, and one of the ones that kind of has quite a lot of controversy. So at the end of the day, you guys, I feel like Fortnite is kind of taking a risk with the Simpsons mini season. It's kind of bold. I think it's safe to say that it's really weird, and it's not what people were expecting when we found out we were getting a second mini season. But that's also exactly what Fortnite does best, you know, surprising us, throwing us curveballs, and making collabs work when they seem completely impossible. So no, this won't ruin Chapter 6, but it might leave a mark, good or bad, on how we all remember this chapter. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Of course, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm always willing to give it a chance. Drop a like on today's video. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.